Hi guys, welcome back. My name is Amanda, also known as Mermaid Hair Donut Care, as in donut. We're here today for my February palette ranking. So all of the palettes that I used in February, whether they're new, old, I ranked them all, every single one that I used. So if that sounds interesting to you, I'd love for you to like this video, subscribe, and keep watching. All right, this is going to be hopefully a rather quick one. I have to do this somewhat fast because one, my attention span is like right now, and two, my phone's about to die. So let's get right on into it. For the month of February, I used 25 palettes. Pretty good. Ranking this month was very hard. It's hard every month because I love almost all of my palettes that I have. That's why I have them. But there were definitely some standouts. It was definitely like harder to rank the top part because I loved so many things that I did this month. Okay, starting off at number 25. This one hurts. The Colourpop Cabana Club. One, this is a mess. I know, don't come for me. And two, I love this palette so much. I'm sad that it's all the way down here, but I did it for a reason because I did a random palette bingo and I only used these three shades right on the side here, and I just did not like the way the look came out, so that's why that one is ranked the where it is. There's always like a reasoning behind like my rankings, if you care. There's always some sort of reason. I don't just like rank it like all willy-nilly. I actually put like a lot of thought into it usually. Sometimes it's really hard, and sometimes I just put things places and I'm like, you go there, you go there. I can't think about it anymore. Number 24 is the Colourpop Misunderstood palette. So this, unfortunately, was used with the Cabana Club in the random palette bingo that I didn't really like the way the look turned out. So therefore, it is also in the bottom. But this one popped up just a little bit further because I did use the shade Sing, which I didn't even realize is like a duochrome shifty shade. I didn't even really get to use it that fully, but now I want to go back and use it. But I just really like that shade, so that leveled it up a little bit. I have number 23 is the Colourpop What Dreams Are Made Of palette. This is the Lizzie McGuire palette. I love Lizzie McGuire, so this is staying in my collection whether or not I like the palette quality. But I did use this for a random palette bingo as well, and I liked it just a little bit more than I liked the actually, to be completely honest, I can't quite remember what shades I used. I know I used two shades from here, and I'm pretty sure it was this purple and this like peachy neutral shade because I used it in a look that I actually loved. And one of the palettes I used in this look actually is like all the way at the top. So I only used two shades out of here, and they were nice and they contributed to a look that I love. But it's about the quality of the palette for that one. And then number 22 is the Colourpop Limoncello palette, which is actually one of the other palettes I used for that exact look. So the look turned out amazing and I loved it, but it's really just because of the third palette I used in that look, which is like all the way at the top. We'll get there. But yeah, so I do also love this palette though. So this is more neutral than I usually go for a palette that I love so much, but I just love the theming here. Like, it's very much Italian and lemons, and I think I'll probably never get rid of this either because of that. I want to go to Italy one day, so I am half Italian, so like anything that screams like Italy is great in my book. All right. Palette number 21 is the Colourpop Just My Luck palette. I actually really loved the look that I came up with this palette, so that is why it is where it is as far as in the bottom half. I feel guilty because like there's nothing that I used that I didn't like. Like I like all of my palettes. I would get rid of palettes that I didn't like. So I always feel bad like ranking some palettes lower, but I still like all of my palettes and I still love most of my palettes. So this next one, I actually do love it and I do love the looks that I did with it. It's down towards the bottom for one reason and one reason only. And it is, if I can actually get it out of the packaging, it is the P. Louise A World. Oh, that could have been so bad. It's the P. Louise A World Full of Wonder palette, and it's down here because it's so freaking big and clunky, and I don't know what to do with it, where to put it. This color story, though, is freaking gorgeous. I created two really gorgeous looks out of this palette. I love it. I really do. That's what I'm saying. I love it. But I don't know what to do with it. Like, look at the size of this thing. It is bigger than my entire head, and it's like, it's so thick. I just like don't know what to do with it, and it's like in my way. But I love the eyeshadows. Like, I love the shades that are in it. Hold on. That's gonna fall. I love the shades that are in it, so it's really sad for me to put it down that low, but that's all I think about when I think of it. Not how much I like the eyeshadows. It's where do I put it? It's how do I hold it? Like, what do I do with it? So that's a factor. All right, palette number 19 is actually the Blend Bunny Dollhouse palette. So I only used this once this month, and I just like looking back, I didn't love the look that I created with it. I do love this palette. It is very neutral for me. I much prefer Blend Bunny's like really bright mattes and shimmers. So it is a little bit more on the like subdued side. I will say this row of like mauvey, pinky, rosiness is amazing, and I've used just that, actually I guess column for a look altogether, and it was amazing at one point. I didn't do it this month, but I've used that exact row and it's been wonderful. So there are really amazing qualities to this palette, but I just didn't love the look that I created with it this month, so that's why it's there. I try to base it off of like the looks that I make with the palette and the overall palette, because how else am I going to rank these? Like, what other determining factors really are there if I'm using the palette and I don't really like the looks I'm coming up with? But I still like the palette, so. All right, number 18 is the Glamlite Red Velvet Cupcake palette. I love this palette. I'm not really sure why I ranked this so low. I only used it once this month, and I did do a really fast, like less than 10-minute like eye look because I was going somewhere. So that was kind of, I guess, the reasoning, because I didn't really get to take my time and sit down and like fully play with it and come up with like really, it was still a really pretty look, I will say that. But I really do love this, and I didn't actually use it on Valentine's Day, which I'm shocked because I thought that's what I was going to do, and then I didn't do it. All right, number 17 is the Oden's Eye Snow Dream palette. So this actually did have a redeeming moment for me, because originally I was not the biggest fan. I didn't love the look that I created with it the first time I used it. But the look I created with it this time around in February was really stunning. It was just also somewhat like boring. Like, it was a very neutral. I had just had like this like olivey green like on my lower lash line. Like, it was so pretty. Like, don't get me wrong, it was gorgeous. I loved it. That's hence the redeeming of this palette, because it was gorgeous. But it was just like not as fun as all of the other looks that I did for this month. So that's why that is there. But I am loving that palette a little bit more after that look that I did create. Number 16 is the Oden's Eye Hela palette, the collab with Angelica Nyqvist, the original collab. I did a really pretty like green and yellow look with this. I want to play with this more because I feel like it was really pretty. But I just did other things that I liked more. That's really kind of what it boils down to. But I do really love this palette, and I definitely want to play with it again and soon. Number 15 is the Blend Bunny All Done Up palette. So I only used this like once or twice this month, and this is part of my project pan. So I'm like kind of just disappointed in myself because I didn't actually like create like a full like look with it. I only have been using like a tiny little like hints of shades here and there. So I'm thinking this month I might try to do like a look with just this, like even on my like Super Shock Sundays or something, and just like pull this and actually like get a good use out of it because I don't feel like I've been doing that. And I want to actually start to pan that because that's, you know, the whole point of a project pan. Number 14 is the Glamlite Retro Raggy palette. So this is another palette that I did, and it wasn't a yellow and green look. It was like a dark green and like a limey green look, hence the lime green. But I really loved it, and it did have a little help from a really pretty eyeliner that I just also happen to be wearing another shade of currently. And it was a great look. Like I loved it. I just think it came out so good. So that's why this one is where it is. Number 13, if I can get it out of the packaging again. I like to save my packaging. If you couldn't tell, I keep almost everything in the packaging. Number 13 is the Natasha Denona Zendo palette. So this one had a moment of redemption for me. This is the first time I've used this palette, and I've actually really loved the look that I created. And I've actually like really like enjoyed using this palette. Every other time I've used it, I've been like slightly just like disappointed. Like, I don't really love the way that came out. That is not how I expected it to come out. This one, I was like, that looked good. I loved it. I actually did use it for a Super Shock Sunday with a Colourpop Super Shock shadow. I used the two like tealy and minty mattes. And then this shade, Yama, is my favorite shade in the entire palette. You can see hopefully on camera that it has like a green shift to it. And I just thought I had a teal Super Shock, and I just thought it looked so good. Like it came out so much better than I even thought it would have. So I was super happy about that. All right, guys, we are in the top half. We're on a roll. Let's keep this going. We have number 12 is the Oden's Eye Stone and Rock palette. I created 2 looks with this palette this month, and I absolutely loved both of them. They were so great. The shimmers in here were amazing. I absolutely love them. This is just a little bit more of like a neutral, boring color story for me personally. I do absolutely love the shades in here. Like I love the way they perform, and I did a really great like neutral look, and then a really great like smoky like with this green that like is shifty. I did a look with that, and it was amazing. The color story itself is just like a little less exciting for me, if that makes any sense at all. Number 11 is the Unearthly Cosmetics Heather Austin collab, the Resurgence palette. So I really, really, really like this color story. I only used like the pinky, almost purpley vibes. I used these 2 mattes, and then I used this shimmer right here, which has like a really pretty shift to it. I did do a rather quick look with it, so I didn't give it as, oh, I did use the black with glitter and the white with glitter as well. I didn't give this as much of an opportunity to shine as far as like a fun, colorful look, although it does have a lot of fun, colorful shades. So I definitely want to play with that again soon. All right, I just got the 20% battery warning, so we are coming in hot with this top 10. We got number 10 is the Blend Bunny Sugar and Grunge palette. I actually used this for Valentine's this year, and I just did like a light pink and purpley look. It was really cute. I really liked it, but I could do better with this palette for sure, and that's kind of why it's where it's at. Number 9. All of these palettes I love, by the way. Like, literally from actually all 25, I love them. I wouldn't, like I said, I keep saying it, and I feel like a broken record, but I wouldn't own them if I didn't love them. I definitely would get rid of some things if I just was not feeling it. Number 9 is the Cosmic Brushes Delicious Delights palette. I love this palette. I really did have some fun using it this month. I did like almost like a sunsetty vibe look with this multi-chrome, and then I did like a mint green and purple look, and I think they both came out like really, really, really amazing. So I absolutely love that palette. Number 8 is the Lux B Aesthetix Cosmic palette. I am obsessed with this palette. These two shimmers are like insane, amazing. I did a super, super gorgeous look. Actually, it was kind of similar to this with this palette, and I was obsessed. I love it so much. Number 7 is the Oden's Eye Trick or Treat palette. I did a super gorgeous look with this palette too, and it was on the more neutral side, but also at the same time it wasn't. It was like coppery with like the olive green and some gold, and it matched this like shawl that I wore that was like a green and like burnt orange and like tan like plaid. It was so pretty, and it matched like literally perfectly, and I absolutely friggin' loved it. Like, I almost want to like recreate it, and I don't really recreate looks very often because I like to try new things, but it was so nice. We have number 6 is the Bella Beauty Bar Pastel Garden palette. Now, this is one of my favorite palettes always. I am trying to pan this. I didn't use it that often, and if I did, I only used like one tiny little bit of shimmer. That's it. So again, another same thing with like the Blend Bunny All Done Up palette. Like, I want to actually get more use out of this palette because I love it so much, and I feel like it's just not getting the use that it should, which makes me sad. So I am going to work on that. Palette number 5 is the Cosmic Brushes Muse palette. I had so much fun using this palette. I did some amazing looks that I absolutely love. The shade Muse is absolutely freaking stunning. I did that with like a green look, and it came out literally amazing. Like, I was shook. It came out so freaking good. Number 4 is the Blend Bunny Blends palette. This is my Project Pan That palette, whatever you want to call it. I started it last year. I'm continuing it this year because this is the only palette that I have ever gotten pan in, like ever hit pan. Like, I don't think I've ever hit pan in anything else that I've ever owned. So it makes me really excited, and I want to keep using it and keep going. So I'm only at 2 currently, but I've been using this palette a lot, and I just love it. It's just amazing quality, and I can plan on continuing to use it. So now number 2 and 3 are actually kind of like a package deal because I did a random palette bingo, and I know that it was actually my favorite look that I did the entire month. So they kind of go together because the look was just so freaking good, and I would have never created it without the two of them together. So number 3 is the Huda Beauty Rose Quartz palette. I do love this palette. At first, wasn't quite sure, but then it literally warmed on me like so much. I love, love, love it now. I just think it, for like a somewhat neutrally pink palette, you can get amazing looks out of this, and the shimmers are really no joke. They're so good. And then number 2 is what I used with it for my random palette bingo. It's the Oden's Eye Solmon 2 palette. this is just one of my all-time favorite palettes. Like, I absolutely love this palette so much. The mattes are amazing. I used like this periwinkle shade. It's like, if I think about it, I'm gonna put a picture of the look right here while I'm editing. Editing me is not gonna be happy that I'm doing this. But I'm gonna put a picture of the look because for whatever reason, it was my absolute favorite look that I created this entire month. So I love this palette so, so much. And then palette number 1. This was part of the look that I said that I did with the Colourpop, What Dreams Are Made Of, and the Limoncello palette. This will just always have a special spot in my heart because it's just so amazing. It is the Elli Beauty Shift palette. These shades are all super special and super amazing. I did like a Valentine's Day-ish look because it was like a pink, purple, and like orangey. And I just happened to pull this shade as my shade for the random palette bingo. And it just like popped and was so good, so amazing. I loved all of these like super amazing shifty shadows, and the fact that there's 9 of them in a palette all together and they're all great. I just love this palette. So that's really why that's number 1. So I'm very excited. I'm already, as I'm filming this, it's already like a couple days into March 2, actually. I think it's the 2nd. And I'm already really excited to see what March has in store. And I've been trying to film some newish content and do some other fun things. So I would really love for you to follow along. Follow me here, subscribe, I should say, here, and follow along in my makeup journey on TikTok, on Instagram. It's Mermaid Hair Donut Care on all 3 of those platforms. And please follow along because I have so much makeup. There is literally always more. Bye.